Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is round one of our special Worlds Format League tournament, where Shrouded Fable was legal. That happened at Die Hard Games on August 15th, 2024. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format everyone wants. Stellar Crown pre-releases start tomorrow, Saturday, August 31st. 1 p.m. Central at Die Hard Games. Go see more info in this video's description for other dates and check out Pokemon's event locator for premiere and other events at the shop, such as League Challenges, League Cups, pre-releases, and more. Please hit that like button right quick, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, say what you need to say in the comments, and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's research this game. On the right, Tsareena EX. Excuse me, on the left, Tsareena EX. On the right, the Ancient. It looks like our Tsareena EX player is starting things off for us with that Brute Bonnet in the active spot. That Brute Bonnet is all part of the near future plan as an Ultra Ball is played, discarding an Iono and a Tsareena EX in order to search their deck for a Pokemon. We need to have the basics down in order to get rolling, so Ultra Ball for a Bound Suite to eventually evolve into that Tsareena EX. Tsareena EX does have a couple of powerful attacks. We'll get into them more as we go, as they pass things over to our Ancient player, who starts things off with a Nest Ball. That allows them to search their deck for a basic Pokemon to add to the bench, so another Roaring Moon is put onto the bench. That Roaring Moon's Vengeance Fletchling attack for 2 Darkness Energy does 70 plus 10 more damage for each Ancient card in your discard pile. So they want to get ton of Ancient cards in their discard pile, and one way to do it is with this Pokestop. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may add any items discarded this way to your hand. So let's see if we can hit anything good off of this Pokestop. Alright, so a couple good things hit there. Let me go back so I could see it a little more clearly. Okay. So the all those cards go to the discard pile. Kind of stinks having that, the supporters go away, but the most important thing is that all the Ancient cards are put into the discard pile as soon as possible. Not all of them, of course, because you need some of them to play the game, but a big chunk of the Ancient cards you'd like in the discard pile to power up that Vengeance Fletchling. So the Koraidon will count, and so the Explorer's Guidance as Ancient cards in the discard pile, of course. So I'd say overall a successful Pokestop. I just hope there's at least an energy and another supporter in hand. There is. The supporter Explorer's Guidance is played now. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck. You get to keep 2 of them and discard the rest. So kind of some thinking that has to happen here, because you don't want to get rid of too many valuable resources. There's 6 cards, you can only keep 2 of them. So see, this is good to get more Ancient cards in the discard pile, but like I said, there is a balance, there is a fine line. Our cards are chosen, our 2 cards are chosen, the rest discarded there. More Ancient cards hit the discard pile. Another Roaring Moon hits the bench. 3 Roaring Moon in play for now, and things are passed back over. Missing the energy attachment isn't that bad. As you see, there's the Professor Sada's Vitality and Dark Patch in order to accelerate energy. So overall, not a bad turn for our Ancient player. Our Tsareena EX player starts things off with an Arven. That supporter allows them to search their deck for an item card and a tool card. The item card is that rare candy, and the tool is that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. That Ancient Capsule is powerful because once it's attached to that active Brute Bonnet, Toxic Powder activates. Toxic Powder says if this Pokemon has an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached, once per turn you may make both active Pokemon poison. And of course, the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule protects the Pokemon it's attached to from special conditions, so really it's just poison your opponent's Pokemon. You'll see the combo here as it becomes relevant, as Rare Candy allows that Bound Suite to evolve straight into that Tsareena EX with the Icicle Soul attack as well as the Trop Kick. Drop Kick is probably going to be the attack used mostly in this matchup, as they use a Pokestop, discarding the top 3, getting 2 items, Nest Ball and Buddy Poffin in hand. They have to discard another Tsareena EX, so I think there's a couple of those in the discard pile. But that's okay. We have to set up. We have to get more dudes out. We have to get more attackers and more support Pokemon out of the deck. So Buddy Poffin is played. That allows the player to search their deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less. The Bound Suite and the Bidoof fit that quite nicely, so they will hit the bench. Next, the Nest Ball is played to search the deck for a basic Pokemon to add to the bench, and that Hisuian Radiant Sneasler is established with that Nest Ball. So we're getting the pieces out here. Brute Bonnet is going to use its Toxic Powder because it has the capsule attached to poison the opposing active Pokemon. And I think that's all our player has for turn. They just don't have the energy attachment or a way to get into the active spot. The Radiant Hisuian Sneasler, there's lots of things going on here with this deck, so bear with me. The Radiant Hisuian Sneasler on the bench has the Poison Peak ability. During Pokemon Checkup, put 2 more damage counters on your opponent's poison Pokemon. So, during Pokemon Checkup, if a Pokemon's poisoned, they take 1 damage in between turns. That Radiant Hisuian Sneasler has them take 2 more damage between turns. So that poison damage, 3 poison damage happening to that opposing Roaring Moon as they now start their turn. And let's see if we can take a KO. Start things off with the Pokestop. Ew, discarding 2 Professor Sada's Vitality. Getting there to the Vessel, so that's good. Getting more ancient cards in the discard pile, that's good, but you want that Professor Sada's Vitality to accelerate that energy so that way you can attack, since the Vengeance Fletchling does cost 2 darkness energy. Usually it's filled by Professor Sada's Vitality as well as energy attachment per turn. Ultra Ball is going to discard a couple more cards in order to find that Pecharunt EX out of the deck, just for it to be discarded with Earthen Vessel to search the deck for 2 basic energy, 2 darkness energy here. Don't need that Pecharunt right now, so our player decides it's okay to get rid of. The opponent has kind of a slower start, or at least no energy attachment, no attacking, so they can afford to get rid of that support Pokemon for now, as all the other cards in hand did not want to get discarded with that Earthen Vessel. Energy attached to the active Roaring Moon, and things are just passed back over. 3 more damage, poison damage taken thanks to that Hisuian Sneasler. We have energy attachment to the bench Tsareena EX over on the left. Bidoof evolves into Bibarel. Bibarel uses its Industrious Incisors ability to draw up to 5 cards in hand. 2 cards in hand, so 3 cards being drawn here. A couple more basics and a supporter is found, so that's pretty good, the Arvin. There's a couple more Iono in hand, but I think you like to play the Arno so you can cherry pick the exact cards you need for the turn. Arvin is going to search the deck for an item and a tool. It looks like that basic switch will be found, and then the Panic Mask as well. Panic Mask is a tool. When it's attached to a Pokemon, prevent all damage done to the Pokemon this card is attached to by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have 40 HP or less remaining. Basic switch into that Panic Masked Tsareena EX. Okay, and I think we have the knockout now. Tsareena EX has the Icicle Soul attack for 1 grass energy. Put damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon until its remaining HP is 30. So, damage counters put onto that Roaring Moon until its remaining HP was 30. Then, during Pokemon Checkup, in between turns, it would take 3 poison damage thanks to the Radiant Hisuian Sneasler and its Poison Peak ability. meaning its HP reaches 0 and it's KO'd. First prize of the game taken, Roaring Moon takes Roaring Moon's place, and play resumes over on its side, starting off with a Pokestop, getting a Counter Catcher. That's good. That card is live, discarding a Dark Energy and another Pokestop. Not too bad. We need Professor Sada's Vitality. But there are 2 of them already in the discard, and you can only play a max of 4 copies per card, aside from basic energy, of course. So 2 Professor Sadas remaining in that deck. The deck is pretty thick currently. Darkness energy attached to the active Roaring Moon, as well as that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. Of course, Ancient Booster Energy Capsule gives plus 60 HP to the Ancient Pokemon it's attached to. Counter Catcher bringing up that heavy 3 Retreat Brute Bonnet as a stall play, and things are passed back over to our Radiant Tsareena player over on the left. They start off with an Ultra Ball, discarding a couple of cards to search their deck for a Pokemon. We already have the Bibarel in place, so we could discard the Bidoof. We already have a couple of attackers in place, so we could discard the Bound Suite. In order to find that Steenie, the stage 1 that Bound Suite evolves into, to evolve. So now in the next turn, we don't need Rare Candy to evolve it into Tsareena EX, if there are any in the deck, or if we can get any into the deck from the discard pile with something like Super Rod, or now that Night Stretcher, since Shrouded Fable is legal. But just depends on what our players got in hand and what they've got in deck. Next is Iono. That supporter has both players shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of their deck, and then draw cards from the top of their deck equal to their remaining prize cards. Our Tsareena player gets 5 here, and the Roaring Moon player gets 6. Potentially pushing the Roaring Moon player closer to a Professor Sada's Vitality, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Don't stunt your own setup just because you're worried about your opponents. Bound Suite put onto the bench. Basic switch gets that Brute Bonnet out of the active spot. That Tsareena slides into the active spot. And Bibarel now uses Industrious Incisors to draw a couple more cards. Ooh, we got the Prime Catcher in hand now. So options for next turn. I don't think there's anything else to do other than take the KO here. Icicle Soul, putting damage on the opponent until they have 30 left. Brute Bonnet will poison. Oh, no, actually. Now that I missed this interaction. Now that the Roaring Moon has the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, it now has 200 HP, and the Ancient Booster Capsule says it cannot be affected by special conditions. So Brute Bonnet's Toxic Powder is not applicable here. Nice. And even if the Tsareena had 2 energy and can do its second attack, Drop Kick for 180, it still wouldn't be enough to KO the Roaring Moon because it's got 200 HP thanks to our tools here. So Icicle Soul will put damage counters on the Pokemon until it has 30 HP remaining. And remember, we do have the Panic Mask on the Tsareena EX, and the Panic Mask prevent all damage done to the Pokemon in this card is attached to by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have 40 HP or less remaining. That Roaring Moon has 30 HP, so it cannot deal damage to the Tsareena EX. We gotta attack with another Roaring Moon. So let's see what our Roaring Moon player can do here. Starting off potentially with the Pokestop. Nope, not before an Earthen Vessel. Discarding a card. Search the deck for up to 2 Darkness Energy. Looks like we're gonna grab the double Darkness. Also check out the deck and see what's in there. That's something you'll see more experienced players do. It's very important to be aware of what resources you have access to, which ones you don't have access to, for optimal play. Definitely got to get a bunch of white dice for our players to use here so we can all clearly see the damage in the video. As a Pokestop is spun here, discarding a couple cards, gonna keep that Lost Vacuum here. Next is that Pal Pad. to shuffle back into the deck a couple supporters, and you know what supporters are going back in? Double Professor Sada's Vitality. We need those to accelerate energy to our Pokemon and draw cards. Next is Pokegear 3.0. Take a look at the top 7 cards of the deck. You may put a supporter you find there into your hand, shuffle the rest of the cards back into the deck. We found that Professor Sada's Vitality here, and it will be played instantly. Professor Sada's Vitality can accelerate one energy from the discard pile to 2 of your ancient Pokemon in play, so a Darkness energy will go on to each of those Roaring Moon, and then draw 3 cards. Remember, the active Roaring Moon cannot deal damage to the opposing Panic Mask Steenie EX. 13 ancient cards in the discard pile. 7 plus 13 damage is what Vengeance Fletchling's doing. 200 damage, if I count it in math right. But we've got to find a way to get the active to the bench. It can retreat. It can manually retreat. So then do we have an energy in hand? Fluttermane put onto the bench. Energy attached to it instead, actually. Our player taking a bit of a slower approach here, and that's okay because they're a fully one prizer deck, so their opponent has to take 6 prize cards. They have some time. That's what I'm trying to say. Player zooms over on the left as our Tsareena player plays an Ultra Ball, discarding a couple cards in order to search their deck for a Pokemon, basic or evolution. No target found. I think they were maybe looking for a Tsareena EX. Yeah, that's the only thing I could think would be a target off the Ultra Ball here. Or they were just thinning their hand down, so that way they can draw more cards with Bibarel. The Bibarel uses Industrious Incisors to draw up to 5. There are 2 Tsareena EX in the discard pile, 1 in play. So next is Iono. Both players shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of their deck, then draw cards from the top equal to their remaining prize cards. The Prereleases Jungle is found here and put into play. That Stadium card says during Pokemon Checkup, put 2 more damage counters on each poison non-darkness Pokemon. Okay, so not super effective here, but still counters that Pokestop, which lets our opponent do stuff. Another energy attached to the active Tsareena EX, and they will use that Trop Kick for the knockout. 180 damage, heal 30 damage from this Pokemon, and it recovers from special conditions. So that is enough to clean up the KO on the massive baby Roaring Moon here. Fluttermane moves into the active spot, and play resumes over on the right here. Fluttermane has the Midnight Fluttering ability. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities. So, not super effective here. Tsareena doesn't have any abilities. But a Nest Ball will be played and really just thinned, and so that way our player can check what's in the deck. Nest Ball fails here. And I guess we're still looking for Professor Sada's Vitality, right? Let's do an ancient count here. 10 plus 6, 16-ish in there. So Professor Sada's Vitality, Fluttermane, and Roaring Moon get an energy accelerated from the discard pile, and the player gets to draw 3 cards. 17 cards in the discard now. Ancient cards. 240 damage is what the Vengeance Fletchling is doing. Not enough to one-shot the opposing EX Pokemon, but a Pokegear 3.0 will be played now. And failed. No supporter found in that top 7. And is our Ancient player running out of steam here. They've got plenty of cards in hand, so lots of options. They had to get rid of that Pheasantipity EX earlier, which would be good to draw more cards, but not when it's in the discard pile. Superior Energy Retrieval is an item card that has you discard 2 cards from your hand in order to put back from the discard pile into your hand up to 4 basic energy. 1 energy targeted from the discard pile this time and attached to that active Flutter Mane. And what can our Ancient player do? Can they attack? Flutter Mane has the Hex Hurl attack for 3 energy, 90. Put 2 damage counters on your opponent's benched Pokemon in any way you like. So we'll just put some damage onto the board. Oh, okay, that Flare Mane actually has 3 energy on it. Okay, I didn't see it. So it can attack. It used its Hex Hurl attack, 90 to the active and 2 to the bench Steenie. Play resumes over on the left here as energy is attached to the bench Bound Suite. Bibarel draws a card with Industrious Incisors, and Tsareena EX uses its Trop Kick attack to take the KO on the 90 HP Flutter Mane. Moving along here. The Tsareena... Okay, never mind. Let me go back. I might have missed something here. Alright, we had the Tsareena attack. Why are we putting the damage on the Tsareena? I'm missing something here. Ah, the Pearliest Jungle. Is that it? During Pokemon checkup, put 2 more damage counters on each poison Pokemon. How did Tsareena get poisoned? Ah, okay. No. It's the Hex Hurl damage. Excuse me. Yep, I'm tripping. It should have 90 on it, right? From the Hex Hurl, I only see 1 damage, but Hex Hurl did do the 90. We just never put it on there. Okay. I guess I do see a damage counter on there. We did put it on there. Maybe they're just making things clearer for us here. So sorry guys for the mix-up there. Tsareena EX takes the KO. The Tsareena EX should have 90 on it from that Flutter Mane attack on the other turn. Roaring Moon flies into the active spot and play resumes on its side as it gets an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached to it. We are fully powering up this Roaring Moon with a Professor Sada's Vitality, not because it needs it for its attack, but I guess we can use its second attack eventually. But we just need to draw cards. We need to see more cards with the draw +3 effect. Super Rod is going to be played next to shuffle back into the deck. First, we're going to do an Ancient count and see where we are, because if we can one-shot this Tsareena, then we probably go for that and remove the only threat on the opponent's board. Let's see the Ancient count here. 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 260. Okay, and then 26 plus 9 is enough to KO the Tsareena. Even 6 would have been. So the Roaring Moon does have the KO on the Tsareena, so do we want to play that Super Rod is the question. It's tricky. It's very tricky. The Tsareena can do max 180 to the Roaring Moon. But the Roaring Moon, thanks to the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, has 200 HP. You know, assuming our player can do that next turn. But yeah, look at the board here on the player's side, and there's 2 Tsareena EX in the discard pile. So our player on the right is going to play a Pokegear 3.0 to look at the top 7, try to find a supporter. They do find that Explorer's Guidance here. Next is Super Rod, shuffling back into the deck from the discard pile a couple of Roaring Moon. We're going to do another Ancient count, making sure we still got enough math here. Ultra Ball now is going to discard a couple cards in order to bring out one of those Roaring Moon onto the field. I'm sure we have enough Ancient cards here for the knockout. 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. 180 plus 7. Oh yeah, yep, we got the KO here for sure. Vengeance Fletching for enough damage to knock out the opposing Tsareena EX as Bound Sweet slides into the active spot and play resumes over on the left here. Rare Candy, oh my gosh, evolves into that Tsareena EX. Energy gets attached to it. Bibarel draws another card with its Industrious Incisors ability. Remember, Tsareena cannot take the KO on the Roaring Moon because 180 doesn't with its second attack, and the first attack will leave it with 30 HP less, but we cannot poison the Roaring Moon thanks to the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. What a game we got going on here. But our player may have found a way here using Arven to search the deck for an item card, and the Prime Catcher is found here. And oh, just a little misstep on our Tsareena player's side here. It looks like they thought they were getting the KO and completely forgot about the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, potentially. Remember, Tsareena EX's Trop Kick attack for 2 Grass Energy can do 180. That Roaring Moon has 200 effectively thanks to the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, plus 60 HP to Ancient Pokemon it's attached to, and cannot be affected by special conditions. So we would have the KO normally with the Brute Bonnet, Toxic Powder, Radiant Sneasler, Poison Peak combo, 3 damage, 3 poison damage in between turn with 30 HP left, but thanks to the ancient technology here, the Roaring Moon survives. 180 damage done to that Roaring Moon, leaving it with 20 HP left. A Panic Mask would have been nice on this Tsareena EX here too, meaning the Pokemon with 40 HP or less cannot do damage to it, but doesn't look like that was found this turn as play resumes over on Roaring Moon's side on the right. The Ancients. We're doing our Ancient count again. 18 Ancient cards in the discard pile. Professor Sada's Vitality accelerates an energy on to the Roaring Moon in play. Draw 3 cards. Let's see if we could stretch for the final one-shot here. Or, you know, it wouldn't end the game, but you would take away all your opponent's attackers with energy on their side of the board, and you'd be in a great position. Let's see what that Roaring Moon's second attack is. Speed Wing for 120 for 4 damage, or for 4 energy. Alright, our Ancient player is assessing their discard pile, seeing what resources have been spent, thinking of what resources are available to better inform their next move here. They're going to count their Ancient cards. Let's not make a mistake here. 15 plus like 4. 260 damage-ish is what Vengeance Fletchling is doing, so I think we're just going to swing into the threat. Very good grindy game we got going on here for round 1 of our Worlds format friendly tournament. Yeah, we're just going to punch the Tsareena EX as hard as we can. I think it was 260 or something. Feel free to keep track in your professor's labs, but I just know it's going to be a two-shot, and we can go back in time and calculate it if we need to. Looks like that was about 280 damage potentially. Either way, it's going to be a two-shot on the Tsareena EX, as a Brute Bonnet is put down over on the left, resuming play over on our Tsareena EX's side. Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached to that Brute Bonnet. So we got double Brute Bonnet online, just in case one of them were to go down or lose their tool. We cannot play or burn the Buddy Buddy Poffin since the bench is full. Can't do that with the Nest Ball either. I think that's what our player is. It's a newer player over on the left. I think that's what they're trying to sort out is what they can do. They figure that they cannot play any cards from hand, so they just attack, taking the KO on the Roaring Moon, cleaning up the KO, should I say. Roaring Moon flies into the active spot and play resumes over on its side. Super Rod now is going to shuffle back into the deck a couple of Roaring Moon and a Darkness Energy. Maybe we need more energy. There's lots of stuff suspended, so 2 energy and a Roaring Moon put back into the deck with that Super Rod. Alright, we're not going to do that, actually. We're going to do something else better first, right? Sequencing is very important in the Pokemon trading card game as Pokestops put into play and resolved. Pokestops discards the last 2 cards in deck. That Roaring Moon and is put in the discard, and the Ancient Awakening Drum Ace Spec is put into the hand. Now we play the Super Rod to shuffle back into the deck a couple of Darkness Energy and a Roaring Moon. That saved our opponent from decking out. Of course, you cannot draw a card at the beginning of your turn, you lose. That's a lose condition in the Pokemon trading card game. We do have the KO on the Tsareena EX, so I think that's basically it. Knock out the Tsareena EX and maybe establish another Roaring Moon and hope the opponent has lost steam and cannot muster another attack. It is possible, I think now with 3 Tsareena EX in the discard pile. Our player would need something like a Super Rod or a Rescue Night Stretcher to get Pokemon back. Then we need an energy in hand to attach and start attacking. So these are all some of the things our Roaring Moon player is working out here in their head. What can my opponent do on their turn? That will better inform what I can do, which is attack and hope my opponent doesn't have it. Attack, Tsareena EX is knocked out finally. Brute Bonnet stumbles to the active spot. Prereleases Jungle put into play. Panic Mass attached to the bench. Steenie, I think that's a Super Rod. Okay, they have the Super Rod to shuffle back into the deck. A Tsareena EX and 2 Grass Energy. Alright. Our Tsareena EX player is reloading here. Let's see if any more cards can be thinned from the hand. They can, so that way we can draw bigger with this Industrious Incisors on the Bibarel. So we can burn, we can play the Nest Ball and the Buddy Buddy Poffin with no effect, since the bench is not full right now. That's what our player is asking a judge about here. Yes, you can burn or play for no effect the Nest Ball and the Buddy Buddy Poffin here, since there are only 4 Pokemon on the bench. The max is 5. You guys know how that works, right? So now we only have 2 cards in hand. Let's draw 3 with Bibarel's Industrious Incisors. Oh no, no Tsareena EX. We hit the energy, but no Tsareena EX or no way to find it with something like Ultra Ball. There's no other draw on board or in hand. So I think our player just can poison. We can poison now. Yep, we can poison the Roaring Moon. Since it's a Darkness type, the Prereleases Jungle doesn't do anything. And the Radiant Sneasler, of course, increases the poison damage by 2. So 3 damage counters put onto that Roaring Moon during Pokemon Checkup in between turns, and play resumes over on the right on Roaring Moon's side. And I think we are seeing the end game, the final stages of round 1 here, as that Flutter Mane is put into play. Energy attached to it. We'd have loved that to have been a Roaring Moon, I'm sure, but we've got to keep the Pokemon in play so that way we don't get donked or we don't get benched. We don't have our only Pokemon in play knocked out, because once you knock out your opponent's only Pokemon in play, you win the game. That's why we saw that, I believe. Next is a Lost Vacuum. Send a card to the Lost Zone in order to send a tool or stadium in play to the Lost Zone. That Panic Mask, wisely sent to the Lost Zone there, as that could have been our Tsareena player's way back into this game. Yeah, that would have been dangerous for a Roaring Moon player. Panic Mask sent to the Lost Zone. Radiant Greninja sent to the Lost Zone because of the Lost Vacuum. Yes, let's use our counters here, please. And now our Ancient player is thinking how they can put themselves in the best position to win this game. They do have the knockout on the opposing Brute Bonnet to take 1 prize card, leaving them with 1 prize card remaining, so they would do just that, but they do not win the game this turn, of course. Steenie floats into the active spot, and play resumes over on its side. So I think Tsareena EX, okay, the next card, always the next card, is Tsareena EX. Tsareena EX evolves. Nest Ball and Buddy Buddy Poffin played for no effect, burned out of the hands, so that we could draw more with Bibarel here, Industrious Incisors. Okay, that's all we need is energy now. Hisuian Heavy Ball will be played to take a look at the prize cards. No effect of the Hisuian Heavy Ball here because there's no basics in the prize cards. Just wanted to burn it out the hand and see what the prizes are. Energy attached to the active Tsareena EX. And Tsareena EX will take the KO on the opposing Roaring Moon with its Trop Kick attack. 180 damage. Flutter Mane moves into the active spot. And let's see if our Ancient player can close the game out this turn. That was a, what is that card? Ancient Vessel. Discarded an Ancient Vessel for no effect. Next, Awakening Drum will be played. That A-Spec card says when you play it, you can draw a card for every Ancient Pokemon you have in play. There's 1 Ancient Pokemon in play, so 1 Ancient card is drawn. Of course, the Awakening Drum is an Ancient tag Pokemon, so it counts as plus 10 damage for Vengeance Fletchling. Roaring Moon drawn from the deck, put onto the bench. Darkness Energy attached to it from hand. Dark Patch being played to accelerate a Darkness Energy to that Roaring Moon on the bench. And now let's do our Ancient count. Do we have enough to one-shot this Tsareena EX for game? Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. What's 25 plus 7? 32. Wow. So, Flutter Mane retreats into the Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon uses Vengeance Fletchling. 70 plus 10 more for every Ancient card in the discard pile. 320 damage Vengeance Fletchling is doing. More than enough to KO the 310 HP Tsareena EX to take the last prize card of the game. Whew, thank you guys for your patience with that one, but I'm glad we went through it and researched. What do you think of this video and the commentary? Please leave feedback in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Professor's Lab.